All right, here we are, guys, with another coach's happy hour, and I do have my favorite beverage here. It's a Swimmer Joe drink, and hopefully Clay and Sid, you have your drink, and all you guys that are watching have your drink
Absolutely
ready to go. We have a great show tonight. Before we get going on our show, because we have to talk about ECU and college swimming, and we have to talk about USA Swimming. But let's talk about really quickly. What the heck's going on in USA Swimming and worldwide swimming today? Sid, what have you heard? Clay, what have you heard?
Well, I hear all kinds of things. I have people calling me. I know pools that are open and coaches that are working long days already. It's such a mix, for us, Joe. We do each group, except for the youngest ones, we offer them an hour and a half beach training 3 days a week. And I love open water, and it's beautiful here in Boca Raton.
They get in good shape too.
We've been enjoying that our beach is finally reopened again. We've done some stuff in the swim school, but all over the country, things are different, and all over the world. I just saw New Zealand. What about you, Clay? I saw, what did they say in New Zealand? Everything's 0, 0, 0. Look at us. We're perfect. I'm like, yeah, you're an island. You can lock your airport and nobody can get in. It's a little different in the USA. What about you, Clay? What's happening?
Wow. I'm not like a world traveler like you, so I'm really confined to my little area here in Central Florida, and I pay attention to Florida as well. But, it's most of the pools are opened up. Sid, right here in Central Florida, we've got a few open. I am not open. We have been going round and round with the local school board. As you know, schools are a little different, so you never know what you're going to get there. But we've got some people working in our favor, talking to school board people, and we're told June 1st we had to put in our protocols Friday. We submit that to the principal. And I've got a lot of activities, I've got camps, lessons, summer league, math, I've got all kind of stuff, So we submitted that to the principal. Now it's got to go to the next guy up the ladder. We haven't heard from him, and we're supposed to open Monday. So we're kind of sitting here in a holding pattern.
Well, listen, as you guys come into the show, I see you guys are coming in, and just let us know in the chat. We're going to start right off with the chat. I want you guys to put in, are you guys open? Do you have a date that's coming on? Like June 1st, June 6th, whatever, or you have no clue. I can tell you that at Winter Park High School, our guys told us not before July 4th. Don't even think about it. So that's one. Our city pool will be at least open to swim teams probably next week. So hopefully we'll get in there. That's it from my area. I'm kind of in Clay's area too. So just let us know. It looks like someone from Jersey Shore chimed in. So that's good. Oh, now people are coming in. Washington, D.C. pools, Fairfax County pools are closed for the summer. Holy cow. Summer league is canceled. Wow, that's big. That's big news there.
So sad to hear that, Sue and Carrie Apple, dear friends. The summer league, Joe, is where so many people get their start in swimming. That's Michael Phelps territory, but all the way up through New York, that whole I-95 corridor from Richmond really all the way up. All those homes are built in developments, and in the summer, the weather changes and everybody goes to their outdoor pool. It's a community thing. So it's the socialization. Forget the swimming development we're losing out on. And I just can't believe they can't figure out a way to at least let the summer club dual meet. I mean, they could social distance and kids aren't at risk. I don't know why people just, I don't know.
Oviedo's done a good thing. They've got at least people swimming, right? They're in every other lane. And that's okay. I mean, you're not going to get sick at the City of Oviedo pool. It's so spread out. You feel so safe that it's kind of like overkill. But you know what? They're not getting sick in City of Oviedo. But anyway, all right, listen, guys, we have an incredible show. College swimming is huge. It's getting ready to start. ECU swimming. Now, ECU swimming's been around for a long time. They've had a winning.
7, Joe, was Ray Martinez started that program. I know because I was born in 1957, 22 miles from Minges Coliseum, which he oversaw and built. That program is historical beyond. Clay, you go ahead. Tell us, for me,
Clay's all fired up.
I swam in the old pool with the Clay. You remember those stairs? They were windy stairs. Were you there that young? No, you were college age before you got there, right?
No. No, I went we were chatting a little earlier. You know, I went to Camp Ray Nez, which was run by Dr. Martinez. Ray Scharf helped him out. They had a 6-lane pool, outdoor pool, and a beautiful like lodgy house. And I learned more in that, 2 weeks. I went 2 years. I went 2 weeks each year for 2 years. And what we finished every week with is a trip to East Carolina. They had this incredible pool that was just built in 1968. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was state of the art. This high wall you would dive off of. They had this thing called automatic timing system. It was incredible. So I have fond memories of that in Greenville and that kind of thing. So that really bothered me.
I want to know if someone, Clay and Sid, ticked off somebody to get this thing rolling in the wrong direction. I mean, they've won more championships in the last 5 years than anybody at ECU. They haven't had a losing record in like a freaking 2 decades or 25 years. I mean, it's been crazy. They're scholar athletes. The girls and the guys are incredible. They won their conference championship this year. The coach was coach of the year. I mean, it goes on and on. So why would you do that? Let's bring in some people. All right.
Yeah.
We got Ben here. He's a team captain. He's going to be a senior team captain. I also want to bring in a few others. Another Ryan Brennan. He's also a rising junior. Guys, tell me what's going on there on campus. I mean, what the hell's going on?
So
Ben, go ahead. Ben, go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yeah. There's a lot of frustration obviously going on between both the men's and women's team. And at this stage, what we're trying to do is get as many people to hear about this as possible, because we feel like there's so many people out there connected to this awesome program and the history of it. We just got to let as many people know, and maybe that can help raise some funds or do whatever has to be done to maybe get this thing rolling. Maybe not next year, but in the future, that's our goal, to get it rolling once again.
So so Ryan and maybe Devin, what is the AD or the coach told you why the program is going away? Just like educate us all, because I have no clue.
I guess he just said it was budget cuts and they didn't have the money to keep on renovating. It was just more cost efficient just to take us out, which I don't know. It's not fair, but I don't know.
So go ahead, Sid.
My question is, did they directly relate it to the COVID-19? Devin, did they say, hey, this is because of the COVID, or they just, it had nothing to do with the pandemic?
It had partly had to do with it, but I mean, already beforehand, Comfer, the old AD, it's more him. It wasn't John Gilbert, but Comfer really left us in a bad position 2-3 years ago.
So are we talking money? I mean, do we need? I mean, is there a number figure that you guys know? Ryan, have you heard anything from anybody on? You guys are trying to reach a certain number.
Yeah. So the number that we've been trying to get to is 1.5 million, but over 5 years. So we're really working hard. Our last update that I saw was that we're at 279,000, which is great number so far in such a short amount of time. Anything helps at all. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up was about the facilities. They blamed the facilities for not being up to Division I standard, but I feel like that's garbage because we still bring in swimmers that are fast enough. We're a winning program, and I just think that Minji's can remain how it is a little bit longer without any renovations based on program success and the people.
Wow, that's go ahead, Sid.
Guys, it really is thoughtful, and I'm glad you have a plan and you have numbers, and yet I know it's got to be so demoralizing if it's already decided, well, next year for sure we're out, and that you're looking at the future. You know, as Clay and I were talking earlier before we brought you guys in, I remember the day that pool was getting filled with water. That was it. It was the Nationals were there in 1968. Mark Spitz's name was all over the record board. I know because I grew up in Kinston, and Ray Nez and Dr. Ray Martinez, he's in the Hall of Fame everywhere. He was such a visionary. That pool's beautiful even to this day. The diving well, plenty big enough. You can run so many great events out of that pool. So I agree. And we're definitely with you on that. Linus and I were the first guys to jump in there. It was so cold. Ray goes, yeah, go ahead, boys. We're like 10 years old. And I jumped in like, woohoo, first one's in. We swam in the old gym. I don't know what they called it, but I was telling with Clay, they had these stairs that would go up from the basement. In East Carolina has such a rich tradition of swimming. We've got to be able to find some ways. So what are some of the more creative things we can do to help you?
Well, go ahead, guys. I know that Dan Schumann, I can see him down there in the green room. He's chomping at the bit. And I know that Clay talked with a guy from Carolina all weekend because he was up there relaxing while all of us were sweating our tail off. So we'll bring in Dan in a second. Clay, your buddy up there, what is he saying and when did he swim?
Well, now this was somebody else. Now this was a friend of mine who went to ECU, but he's not a swimmer guy, and he's a big ECU fan. But you know, it tells you kind of.
Does he have any money? Does he have any money? Let's talk.
He doesn't have enough, buddy. But you know, there's a lot of us. If a lot of us give a little, it'll be great. But you know and Joe, you know, I've been in some of these kinds of battles before, and it's not always easy, but. I'm going to ask the swimmers and the ECU alums, do you have contact with the AD or the decision maker? You can't, you know, it's great for us to sit here and talk amongst each other and make each other feel good. But if you have someone, an alum do you have a contact? Are you talking to the athletic director or the assistant AD or somebody?
Just from my personal experience, I have not reached out to Mr. Gilbert, and I don't know anyone who has. We've sent emails like, "Hey, we think you need a first decision and stuff," but we seem to get like cookie cutter response that not much can be done and stuff. But I feel like we deserve to push forward with the conversation and not just say there's got to be a number. I feel like that can bring us back.
Yeah, but you know, you have to have, it can't be you guys. You need a powerful alum or someone who calls them up and develops a relationship with them and starts the conversation going, or this is not going to work. It doesn't matter how much money you make unless you make $1.5 million now, which maybe you will. But you have to have a couple of key people, alums, hopefully somebody, you know, successful who can talk and who can, you know, not be too adversarial, but develop a relationship, and they got to start talking, and they got to get the number. And you know what? If you know a number, maybe you can get there. But you know, I told my friend who tried to say, well, you know, you got to, you know, ECU had to do what they had to do, and I say to them and my friend, I'm like, you know what? If they wanted to save swimming, they could save it. Period. They didn't want to, and you know that's true. So you have to convince them that they need it and they want it.
Yeah, Clayton Dean there, you need to get the University of President's ear. I mean, you need to go, get in front of him. I mean, or if it's a female, I don't know, but get in front of them and just get after it. I mean, you got to be like strong as hell, get it done, and don't quit until it's done. I mean, Clay is absolutely right on that. Who is the most famous 2 or 3 people that have, besides Kevin Mizell, because I know he's watching, who are the most famous people that went to East Carolina? I would be hitting them up. Someone knows them in your circles. So, or someone knows someone who knows someone.
Charlie Rose.
So I would, yeah,
Hey,
Charlie's calling me.
Dan, what about you? What do you got to say? Throw something into this for us.
He's a marketing guy. He's getting ready to lay it on us.
That's it. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Thanks.
So, I mean, you mentioned the outreach to the administration, and certainly we've gone through those initial steps of the emails and their responses, as you'd expect it to be. there's nothing we're going to do about it. The decision's final, isn't going to be reversed. And we've all gotten the exact same responses from the interim chancellor, from the athletic director, and from the chair of the board of trustees. So we've gone through those initial steps. Of course, now we're in the midst of getting a little more organized in terms of two different directions, really trying to work on networks, find those contacts to help increase some of that internal pressure, get a little public pressure on from opportunities like this. So thank you for having us on here and giving us this platform, and starting to cultivate some of those grassroots fundraising mechanisms as well. You know, we're gathering pledges now, so if anybody out there wants to pledge to support us, just shoot an email to saveecu@gmail.com.
Frozen.
Heard something there. And we're really just trying to work this from the grassroots up. And while we're continuing to add pressure to the administration itself, it's a little bit harder because everybody's off campus. You can't really set up in-person meetings or go as a group and do much. So we're doing what we can in the time of COVID to raise awareness of the cause, of the plight of the program. Because as the swimmers noted before, you know, the logic as articulated by the administration at the outset really doesn't hold water, if you'll pardon the pun, when you hold it up to the light of day. You know, the facility is in fine shape. It was renovated with a whole new filtration system, whole new lighting system just a few years ago. It's a fast pool. It's perfectly fine, perfectly adequate for what the program needs, as was proven by the fact that we won the title this year and continue to see the program just get stronger year after year. And so we're trying to get some answers in terms of the logic of why they made the decision while we're continuing that support.
Let's call Sandra Bullock. Okay, that's what Cindy Barstow said. I know Cindy was a great. So Kristen is another. She said, "And these, somebody reach out."
Yeah.
I got another question. I see we got two new young guys. We've got Grega Popovich and Hunter Pig. I got a question for you, Hunter. Are you from Tarboro, North Carolina?
Oh no, sir. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay. Could you have any relatives in Tarboro in the 60s?
That's definitely possible. My grandpa.
There was a hell of a good butterfly swimmer named Tammy Pig. She could really, I don't know where she went to college. It could have been East Carolina. But anyway, give us your take, Hunter. We want to hear from you.
Well, my biggest thing, probably the thing that I just want to be said is just how shocking that it was to go from 1 second you've won conference champions, you're on the rise, you're looking forward to next year, looking at all these kids coming in, seeing all these new freshmen, all the future memories to be made, and then next thing you know, it's all taken away from you over a Zoom phone call. And I hope that we'll be able to get this money and get it, hopefully get the team back. I don't know, you know?
What the hell do these sophomores and juniors and incoming freshmen do? I mean, or the seniors for that matter, they're going to be a rising senior. Are they let go? Do they not go to school there? What goes on?
I mean, for me personally, I'm staying in Greenville. Since I am from Raleigh, I've got the in-state tuition. I'm part of my program here, and I honestly love it here in Greenville. But it's just a shame for all those other kids who are going to keep pursuing swimming, and they don't get the chance to keep on going on. I know most of the rising sophomores, they probably are not returning. All those incoming freshmen, I wouldn't be surprised if none of them come. And it feels like so many future memories have been robbed, but it's just
here's what I feel bad for, and I feel hugely bad for ECU, but coaches that are watching online and Sid and Clay, you know, it seems like every year we're losing one or two, and you know what, we need to do something about it. I mean, we need to step in and do something, because there's a nasty pattern here. I mean, it's going downhill quick. Clay, I mean, don't you think? I mean, every year we're losing a couple, and ECU's a big one. So,
well, you know, it's not good, and it'd be nice to say that that every swim program needs to endow their program and hit up. You know, the coach needs to be in charge of raising money and creating an endowment to guarantee the existence. You know, but that, you know, you're talking about $10-20 million. You know, that kind of thing. But as far as, you know, your situation, you got to go a full court press, and And Dan, you might be the one. Don't email the AD. Call them. You need to call him on the phone and talk to them and get a meeting with them. And you need to get the press. You need to picket. You need to get the citizens of Greenville, and you line up in the street. You have to do this. And the money, they've decided, they've made their decision. But if you're going to reverse it, it's all about pressure, because there's, you can talk about the rationale of. And I read the very interesting numbers thing of the guy who was on. I can't remember where I saw that from Joe, but the guy who did the study. And if you take away the tuition that you pay, because not everyone's on a scholarship, it's a break even or a lose deal for this school. Financially, even though some of that money is tuition money. Tuition money maybe is not athletic money, but it's money to the school. You can talk rationale, but it's going to have to get pressure and maybe a little ugly. And you got to get the press there. When they tried to throw us out of our pool, we had helicopters flying over the pool. So you have to do that. You have to start hammering them on social media. But you have to get people there, and money is good too. But I would challenge everybody to. Every swimmer in the country, give $100. Give $100.
I know $100 for sure. I like what Cindy put in the chat. You guys need to chime in on the chat. It says get Olympians involved in saving these college swim teams, because you know what, everybody can do it. It's gonna take everybody. Sid, I see you.
Bob Steele has great advice there. To get the college swim coaches. Greg Earhart's helped with that. Bob's going to talk to Greg Earhart within the next hour. And there's definitely everything Clay says is right on. We haven't heard from Grega yet. I just wanted to hear what his story was down there in the corner. Grega, can you hear us? You got your mute? Do we have any audio?
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Go ahead, Grega. Let's hear from you.
Obviously, this decision doesn't affect me as much as it does for some of the other underclassmen, since I was a senior this year. But just seeing a program get cut after having such long history of success, not just in the pool but also on the academic side of things, I just feel like we would deserve a second chance, or just see what we can do to save the program. Maybe if raising money by running swim clinics over the summer, or whatever the case may be, just to think about it a little bit more than just cutting us.
All right. Well, thanks.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. I think, that the idea that there's something very valuable, and when you throw in the money aspect, Clay's right. Like, okay, the money can be there. It's a break even. Maybe, all those tuitions we're going to lose. But that pressure, that constant gnawing, it's like the squeaky wheel will get the grease. So if you really want to just hammer away, I would agree. Phone calls rather than emails, and as buildings open up, it's not going to be that much longer till you guys can walk right up, knock on the door, and just or say, hey, we're going to sit here and wait for an appointment, something like that. And at least let them know how passionate, because there's so much. I mean, I know I always talk about stories. I already got these old stories, but East Carolina swimming is historical. It's just a tremendous place. I mean, I think of all the people that came through there. So
Dan, is there a place that we can find the largest donors for East Carolina? Because, some of those guys or gals I'm sure they can do something, I mean, they just need to know, but you got to pull the heartstrings like Clay and Sid are talking about, and get some of these guys that are giving money each year.
Yep. So we're working through our contacts with the East Carolina University Educational Foundation, the Pirate Club. So we're doing what we can through the formal channels like that, trying to get as much information and interaction as we can. We know that it's going to be tough. It's a long road to hoe. But we've seen this work before. There have been other programs who've been able to pull themselves off the chopping block. We saw that with UNCW. Our great in-state rival who's cheering us on now, trying to do what they can to help us. We know we've got a lot of supporters because we want to keep rivalries like that alive, but we know it can be done. And we're pretty confident that with the support we're starting to see coalesce around this and the traction we're starting to get, that we think we're going to be able to see this thing through to the finish line. But to your point, it really is about keeping that pressure on and working to get the funds pledged that we can, while getting the university just to listen to us. Because at this point, we can get all the commitments we want, but the university still hasn't even agreed to listen to us. They haven't even entertained the thought. So getting that external pressure, getting people to make those calls, to work their own networks as they pertain to the university community is really, really important for us. So not only for the swimmers who are there now talking with their friends on campus, but working through the coaching networks from folks such as yourselves to apply pressure from every single angle just to get them to say we're listening. That's what we're trying to get to now.
You know, I see Lindsay, Frank, and Bobby there, all coaches and different things online. That they are saying exactly what needs to be getting done, and you know, all of us need to just help you out. I mean, it's making me sick because I see it every year. There's swim teams dropping, and man, I don't know. We got to. I mean, whatever we can do to help you guys. I know that. We have some different sites that people can go to. If people want to give money and stuff, what do they do, Dan? Where are they going for money? Where are they going for?
So there are a few different things. We do, of course, have our social media pages, and they all use the handle Save ECU Swim Dive. So if you go to facebook.com/Save ECU Swim Dive, same on Instagram and Twitter. Please share our messages, retweet, regram, and amplify to your individual networks. And if you're somebody who wants to support us or has even ideas to help us along the way, send an email to Save ECU Swim and Dive, Save ECU Swim and Dive @gmail.com. Because we're obviously just getting started. We know it's going to be a long battle, but we're confident that we're going to be able to come through and triumph in the end.
So for those of you that go ahead, Sid.
I was going to ask a question that Cindy Marsteller put in, and Cindy was a great sprinter at James Madison. Her daughter, I believe, swimming with you guys now, Dan, right? But if the money was there, what are the other things that we're not seeing? Why would they want to cut swimming? Some of you guys were saying that it was not the COVID. That was kind of like an excuse. It helped push over something that the AD from previous regime was creating. And so if it's that nefarious that it took this long, couple years to get to this place, and now we got COVID-19, good, we can chop them and say, oh, so sorry, boom, sorry. You know what? It seems like there's got to be something else. If we get the money, if you guys get the money, then what else? What are the other obstacles? Do you know, Clay? Do you got any idea, Joe or Dan?
We're trying to understand that now.
Is there a gender equity issue? The boys versus the girls? How many are on each team? Is it equal?
It's roughly equal. It's slightly more on the women's side. So it's certainly not a title line issue in that regard, or at least not in the swimming program itself. And we can all speculate on what the underlying motives might be. I'd like to think there's not nefarious intent there. We're a pirate community and we defend each other. And I'd like to think that there aren't axes to grind, but there's the cynical side of us that can run wild sometimes. So we're trying to act in good faith, and we hope that they will do the same. But we're also not naive. So we're trying to, again, apply the pressure where we can. We know that we're not a revenue sport, and that dynamic, of course, plays hugely into the conversation. And so we know that we've got to make our own noise, knowing that the volume of consideration is going to be given to those revenue sports. So we're going to try every possible avenue to save this program, because it's the right thing to do. Y'all talked about the history. You've talked about our recent success and the success over the past 60 years. Not just in the pool, in the classroom too. If you look back a couple of years, our women's program is the highest GPA in the country among the swimming programs, better than Harvard. So it's not like we're just a sports team. These are true scholar athletes, true student athletes in the absolute truest sense of the word. And they deserve to be kept around.
Well, here's something that I got from this press. It says, the women's team posting the highest grade point average among all AAC teams among Division I schools in North Carolina. Only Duke University equal that mark. Also, the graduation success rate. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. I mean, that's hard to do. That's hard to do.
Yep.
Hey guys,
So
we all know why it is. It's all about football. I mean, we all know that. And it was football that got them into this trouble because they tried to spend their way to success. And that's exactly what happens. And they overspent and their football team lost, and now they're in debt. And so they go to the other teams. They call you the non-revenue sport, but evidently football was the negative revenue sport. And that's why they're in trouble. And, you know, we all think that football is going to pay the way for everyone else. And in many places it does. But here's your classic example of some guy, some AD or whatever, who came in and thought he could spend his way to success in football. And he fell on his rear end. And now they're in trouble. And you have a new AD who probably doesn't know how to swim. And he's all about football. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. So, you know, you guys, I think the one good thing you guys might have going for you is you're in a small town and you can get the press to cover the story. You know, I think you can do it, but you got to get somebody influential to get in front of that college president and that AD, because you know that's what it is. It's about the football team who is losing and losing and losing and losing bleeding money. And
it took 31 minutes.
To success. It's about the people. You got to hire a real coach and you got to have real players. That's how you win. You don't need a 50-meter pool. You need a coach and athletes. That's the football team maybe should learn how that works.
Hey, it took 31 minutes for Clay to show up. Clay, welcome to the freaking conversation. Damn it, I love it.
I get a little tired of this football stuff because everybody thinks that's what's the big thing, you know.
I do too.
But,
I do too. Well, think about it. All these colleges goes, okay, well, college coach, we're going to pay you $8 million, and then you're going to go 6-6, and you're fired. Okay, and then it's a guaranteed contract, and then they lose money, and then it's a pain in the butt. Anyway, listen, and we need to continue that, Clay, because I love it. It's 32 minutes. We normally do our cheers at 30. So cheers, people, and listen. I urge all of you to get into this ECU thing and get them back on board and get them back on track to swimming. This is ridiculous. All right, cheers. All right, Clay. Clay, back to your rant, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't give up. Don't freaking give up. That's the truth.
You got to go 30 days hard.
Clay, Donald Spellman gave some great advice there about getting some politicians involved, Dan. I think there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of strings we have yet to pull as part of this whole tapestry of support comes together. But we're going to pursue every possible avenue, certainly the political angle. And we've got people already advocating to contact their state legislators. You know, it's a state-funded school. Money talks in a lot of different directions, and doing everything we can. It was interesting you mentioned about the athletic director potentially not knowing how to swim. I'm confident he does. And the irony in it is his wife was a swimmer. So he knows the power of this community. He knows what it means to, or at least should know what it means to be a swimmer. And hopefully that works a little bit in our favor in terms of getting at least a little bit of a voice in his ear that maybe he should reconsider this decision.
All right. Then you call his wife. Call his wife. You know what?
Knock on the door.
The wife can be very powerful. I have one. So, you call his wife and you get in front of his wife. And you know what? If he was a swimmer or his wife is a swimmer, well, that's even worse. That, you know what? He needs to want this program and see the value in it and realize the problem didn't come from the swim team. And as my buddy, my ECU buddy told me, he's like, well, swimming has the highest, it's got the highest budget. So it's the biggest number to cut. Well, you know what? It's you got 50 people swimming, but they're also paying tuition. That tuition is still being paid by most of these kids. Most of you guys.
There was a good comment about that Bob Steele put up. Put that up again, please, Bess. But it's his job to help the program, not to be a freaking slasher.
Yep.
What the hell?
Right. It's to raise money. That's it. They should raise money. That is.
Yep.
And it's such a tradition thing.
That's his job.
How much are they paying?
That's his job. His job is to raise the money. And if he can't do the job, well, that's a problem for him.
Or get rid of him.
So this guy got fired. Yeah. Oh, geez. So why, if the guy that got fired, why are you following his plan? Let's get a new plan. How can we do this? Let's go. Let's get mobilized. All right, I'll call Sandra Bullock. I've always loved her film. Just get me her number. All right, Joe, you're good at that.
We'll work on that.
And
Call her up.
I'm really not kidding, called the AD's wife. I am not kidding. I mean, if you talk to his wife, she'll sit him down, and that may be your best bet. That may be your best bet. And all your legislators, you don't leave any stone unturned, but you got to go hard and heavy for 30 days.
Yep.
Hard and
Yeah,
heavy.
That's where you can get Ben, the captain, get his boys in line.
Mhm.
And they can get the girls going, and they need to start that campaign. And then maybe they already have, but they need to be knocking on doors, getting stuff done. I almost cussed. Getting stuff done. And Ben, you got to get them going, man. I mean, this is your team. This is your team.
Yeah, we've seen some good progress, and we're trying to get that petition out and the word out to as many people as we can. And you guys have made some awesome points that we're definitely gonna use from this point to just find those supporters out there, those big names, people who have gone to ECU. These are all great ideas, and we're loving the advice, and definitely going to use it. And we appreciate that. We're going to really keep slamming, keep moving forward with this.
Well, listen, you got to go shake hands and kiss the babies, and I definitely want to hear. I'm sure Sid, Clay, and I want to hear about it for sure in a week or two. Like, I want you to come back on, Ben. You, maybe Dan, maybe some other people, come back on and tell us what you guys have done and where we are, so we can try to continue to help out. But I mean, so our last 2 minutes here, Ben and Dan, last 2 minutes, show us where to go, tell us what to do, and then we got to move on here. But love having you guys.
Ben, I'll defer to you for the moment.
All right, so I think Sid said it. ECU has such rich tradition in swimming, and we always have. We've got 4 national championships in the past. So there's got to be people out there who are willing to put this in and help us and to keep this thing going. Because there's just so many people that have come through before me and who would be willing to keep this program alive for the young kids coming up.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
We're going to try our hardest to help you out, man. Go ahead, Dan.
And if I can encourage everybody who's on the stream right now, you saw in the comments, our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. Again, please help us share those messages. Every voice matters. Every pledge matters for anybody who's willing to even the smallest amount of support to that Save ECU Swim and Dive at gmail.com account. Every little bit helps. We're gonna make as much noise as we possibly can. But every single voice matters here. So anybody who's willing to support us, we appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, we're going to do our best to help you out. And again, like I said, in a couple of weeks, we want to see you guys again, because we definitely want to help ECU swimming out, and because we have a lot of friends that went there, and now we have more friends, you guys. So super pumped for you guys on what's coming up, because I know it's going to take a hell of an effort, but you can do it. Clay is right. Sid is right. You need to go bang the frickin' monkey and get it done. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Now,
good luck.
Clay, Sid, let's talk about, first of all, that pisses me off about college swimming and what they're doing to it. It really ticks me off, because you know what? Maybe next year it's freaking another team, and we're going to be doing the same thing, and then another, and then it's 2 teams, and then so. I mean, coaches, we got to figure this thing out, man.
Let's look at it. Clay knows. Let's look, follow the money. So it's really not about it. All we have to really talk about is college football. Is it going to survive this thing? And now we've been hearing for years that the top 20 are going to break away from the NCAA and create their own, or the top, whatever. They don't need the NCAA. They could turn around to their non-revenue sports and say, you guys are all club teams. When I was head coach at University of Miami, they closed the door. Oh no, it was at Florida State. It was Bob Goen was the assistant coach. Bill Schultz, Gary Mall, and I were there. And he closed the door, and we're all the Olympic sports. They called us Olympic sports. We're going to go Olympic sports. He closed the door. He said, yeah, in here you're the non-revenue sports. So here we're talking business, and that's all they really care about. I mean, in essence, there are great programs. I would say the Gators, Stanford, Texas, people that care about their Olympic sports and really promote them, put their money where their mouth is. You know, East Carolina, COVID, in my opinion, has just made it too easy for them to cut it. And I think the long term, we got to be careful because who knows what next year is going to be like. And we're one of the few sports that can easily social distance and make sure we're clean. We're in the pool.
USA Swimming says, hey, turn up your chlorine to 2.0. I just read it today. It's like, turn up your chlorine to 2.0, man, because that'll help. But, you know, I just don't want swimming to go down. You know how much time Clay, Sid, you know, that we've put into just promoting swimming. So it's like, golly, what in the world? It's crazy. All right. So let's go somewhere else here. We've got an extraordinary year, right? Everything's been blown out of proportion. 220 is the junk, right? So let's do this. Let's do USA Swimming why nots. Here's for instance, and I definitely want to see this in the chat. Everybody's got a why not. Why doesn't USA Swimming do this? Okay, so I definitely want to see you guys with your own ideas in the chat. But why doesn't USA Swimming, for instance, here's one for you. Why don't they, since they've canceled everything, why don't they put futures in the fall or in early spring? That's number one. Number two, why don't they put junior nationals as a long course meet? Why not? Why the frick not?
Well, they should.
What do you think, Clay?
They should. Obviously, since trials was moved back, it should be long course in December. It should be, of course.
It's not. Why not?
It'll change. They'll change that, I'm sure. You don't think so, Sid?
I think it could change. I think if guys like Joe would start putting enough pressure and then the right guys in, I do think USA Swimming's a flexible enough organization, and there's some good people in there that, as long as the host had no problem with it. You know, there's a reality that some pools are selected specifically for their short course ability, and go long course. Yeah, it makes it a little bit different. You know, I would think that if it was demanding enough, but, you know, they're not that interested in trying to get more kids qualified for Olympic trials, Joe. Yeah. Yeah, they
I know, but it's well,
so,
that's maybe one of them. But you know what? Why don't you have futures then? Because that meet is canceled, and that's not necessarily the Olympic trial folks. That meet's gone. So now kids, if they don't have high school like we do, then they, you know, what are they doing? They're what are they doing? I don't know. And I know that Bobby, Frank, Bob Steele, all you guys, Ryan Gober, give us a why not. Why doesn't USA Swimming do this? I want to see one because I know you guys have them. We talk about it at all the meets. Like, why doesn't USA Swimming do this? Well, here we go. Let's hear about it.
Well, I don't know. From a media point of view, we should have a big championship in February because there's nothing on the sports schedule in February. That's when they should have the NCAA championships, in my opinion. I mean, I've been saying that for years. Eddie Sinnott turned me on to that idea. If the NCAAs, then they'd get another month of long course swimming in. Just run it and, you know, run the NCAAs in February when there's nothing else, no March Madness, no playoffs, nothing happening. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
But what do you got? What do you got here?
Clay, I know you've got something because you're always. I'm ready for some Clay right now.
Oh boy. You know, here I'm always thinking if USA Swimming or if the powers that be don't want to do what you think should be done, then you just do it yourself. I mean, we don't have to wait for them to do it. You know, like here in Florida or anywhere, there's plenty of pools. We can place a long course meet wherever we want. We can place one in December. We can place one in March. You know, March may actually be safer. You know, we get over this whole Corona thing. You know what I mean? So, you know, if they don't want to do it, it doesn't mean we can't do it ourselves. I just never have been hung up on waiting for USA Swimming to do something because, you know, a meet's a meet. And, you know, you can get a time in any pool and you can have great races anywhere. There's great swimmers everywhere. You don't have to travel necessarily. So I'm not necessarily hung up waiting for USA Swimming to do it.
Dude, I like Ryan Gober's comment there. Did you see that? It said, why not combine men and women's NCAAs and make it a swim fan dream vacation? Now, I know he's kind of being funny, but that's a good idea.
No, that idea has been floating about, and that's a good idea. It kicked about, but I remember Kathy Wickstrand telling me why women's Big Tens should never be combined, and then they have such a tradition there. And she, of course, swam at Northwestern, coach there. But she said, look, because when you walk out of the building at night and you see some girl go 20.8 in the 50 free or whatever time she said, and it's awesome, and then they go to the next girls' event, or do they go to the next guys' event where some guy goes 18.2 and people forget all about the girl? So it gives the ladies their own platform, stage, a big show, and I'm all for it. Having that a sister who swam at Pitt, another one swam at BC, and I love being around those that karma when it's a women's only, and then when it's a men's only. But I'm old school, man. Maybe they should all be combined. I don't know, but I liked what was the other one I saw there?
Ben Davis says, why doesn't USA Swimming release the meeting notes from national coaches meetings? And here's what's funny. We have foreign coaches that coach in the U.S., so they send it home anyway. So it's like, whatever. Okay. So.
Yeah, I have been privy to a few of those clandestine meetings in the past, Joe. I was on that committee for about 3 or 4 years in my role in the 90s, and I remember Jack Bowerly and Mark Schubert, but it was cool. One thing that they always started with, where they pulled everybody in and said, okay, everybody, what are we going to do to swim faster? Richard Quick was big on that kind of thing, but it's evolved from this little closed group. Now USA Swimming is a mega bit. It's not the 1990s anymore, and I think we should. It absolutely impacts us. So I think Ben's got a pretty valid point there, Ben.
He does. And you know what? Here's another one. And I know Clay wants to jump in because Clay's got a comment there from Lindsay. But Sid, you and I were sitting at the tier meet. I forget what city, but we were at one of the pro series, and it was really quiet in between events. And now that we've seen the ISL blow this thing out of the water with hype and interviews on deck and music and all this fireworks and craziness and music, and then you go to a tier meet, pro series, and I love USA Swimming. I grew up in it, but you know what? It was dead. And I'm like, you know what? Sid, you, Clay, and I, Charlie, whoever can get up there and BS and talk and at least get on the PA system and maybe create a little hype. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of love. I mean, something.
Absolutely. Very good point. What do you got, Clay?
Well, I just saw, was it Karen that made a comment? I think it was Karen, but I was thinking it myself, that said that there's too many, there's too many swimmers to do a long course meet in December. So Karen just put that down. That's what I was going to say. There used to be 3 junior meets. Maybe you make it 2 this year, so that we can get long course in there for these younger guys to have a shot at trials, that kind of thing.
Well, we do have 2. We have 2. We have one in the east and one in the west.
Oh, that's true. The summer, I'm thinking summer meet, but that's true. Maybe we have to have 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know Joe was jumping into something else, but excitement. We talk about college sports being, swimming being, and I maybe am bouncing off in a different direction, but swimming being a non-revenue sport. Well, some of us club guys are trying to make a living. We're trying to figure out how to control our expenses, increase our revenues, and those kind of things. But why don't they ever at least try to make swimming a revenue sport? I mean, you go to the University of Florida, one of the greatest teams in the nation. You know how much they charge you to get in to watch a dual meet against Auburn? Nothing. I'd pay $20. If
True.
they charged $20 a head, they'd make, $20,000 at that meet. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, hold on. Let me mention something, Sid, before I forget, because I have dementia or something. All right, so I know a swim meet down in South Florida because I talked to them this weekend. They have a meet it's a 3.5 day meet. It's a long course. No, it's a short course meet. They make $30,000 at the gate. The city makes $30,000 at the gate. The gate. Yeah. So there you go. For Clay's point, There you go. There's 30,000 cash at the gate.
And they give out unbelievably great medals, and it goes. I mean, and the kids love it, and we swim fast, and it's fun, and that the club entry now in Gold Coast. I mean, you can charge anything you want for a meet now. So I mean, the club does very well, but it's a city club, and you know what? It shouldn't be just our meets that are making the funds, though. I think Clay's right. If you got a place like Florida, you can somehow. On that same pool deck, Joe, if we could open up a VIP lounge like we do at the NCSA, our boys there are pretty progressive. We're going to have a fast long course meet in March. It will probably be short course prelims, long course. Of course, that's the plan for Orlando, but who knows in COVID what could happen. I am so excited to look at why don't we do things completely different. We've got no summer nationals. And I got to believe that Ben's got the right idea that those few coaches are talking about it going to make the decisions without us being in on it. Wait a minute, because there's a lot of people out there with some very legitimate, great ideas, but maybe our championships aren't where we want them. Maybe we need to scramble the whole thing up and base it on if we know every fourth year we want a big ass meet in June. Well, I don't know. Or how do we get that party atmosphere at even an outdoor meet?
So right there on the screen, Charles Barkley commentated golf last week, and it was the most watched thing ever. So maybe we get a couple goofballs to commentate a meet.
I think I know two goofballs. I'm telling you, Joe and I got together. You are the guys, man, to make it happen.
Get two goofballs to do swimming and do giveaways and have all this fun stuff and talk to the audience and pick on a guy walking and just the whole thing, it's entertainment. People will pay more money for entertainment. You can charge more money. So, I mean, come on. That's a why not for sure.
It can be done. We talked about it, last weekend, Joe and I, and there's a lot of great, you can do a lot of great things to spice up a national meet and get people into it. You know what I mean? And you guys are the key, to be very, very honest with you. You guys are the key, man. You got to generate that excitement. One of the only meets that's exciting without having to really work at it is Olympic trials, because there's so much at stake. There's so much. People are, they think their lives are on the line. So you create that kind of atmosphere at every national meet that there's a winner and a loser, and they're going to win big, you're going to lose big, and you guys can do it. You guys can do it.
I love it, man. Joe, we could do hot heats. Karen, great idea. Awesome idea.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, it's a hot heat. The kid that wins, he gets instead of just a little goofy prize, have it be worth $100. Oh, my 100.
Their heart rate goes from 90 on the block to 210.
Yeah. Well, we do pretty well in Florida, I think, at our state. And then at the NCSA, we bring in the guys, who pump it up. Action Jackson and. We have what's the other guy's name, Joe? I just slipping me because I've known him 20 years, but the guy
Mike
Greenwell.
Mike Greenwell, and he does Carifta Games. Let me tell you, boys, if you've never seen the Carifta Games, unbelievable finals. It's the Caribbean and the flavor, and all the flags are flying at the very top. The band's playing. The Jamaicans bring the freaking band wherever they go, and it could be.
I think it's because they got the Bacardi sponsor.
It's everybody's partying Bacardi.
USA Swimming open liquor. So
does that mean except the Olympic trials are pressure, but Carifta. I'll tell you, we can learn a lot from that. You're right, Joe. We should have a parents-only section where if they want to party, you go over here and, whatever it is, let them have their drinks. You can't bring your own in. You have to buy ours at $18 or whatever.
Tailgate.
Dude, Nate,
your little tailgate.
Hey, Nate, look at Nadine. She goes,
Laura Boat's going to have it. Yes, sir. It's going to be funner in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to have we'll have a VIP lounge. I'll be right up top at that.
Well, listen.
I'm going to see the sunset from that place.
Yeah, Laura, we got to do some shows from there when you guys open. But Nadine says dancing on deck. You know what the DJ could do is have some like dance thing on deck or dance thing, and then everybody would have to rise up and dance. That'd be kind of fun. But anyway, yeah, excitement.
Yeah,
all right, listen, guys, we have a couple minutes left. Couple minutes, which stinks because that means we have another one to do next week. So got a great show next week. Just want to let you guys know that we appreciate you guys here every Wednesday night at 7. Go look into ECU. If you missed out earlier, go into ECU and save that program. That is ridiculous that we're losing a great program like that. Also, stay safe and listen. You can make these. Look at this. Blue Dolphins. You can make them. All right. See that, Clay? See that, Sid?
You got to be kidding me.
We got our own mask.
You're kidding me.
We got our own mask. All right. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Hey, but listen, we have to because the city – the city requires us. So you know what? Here we go. There it is. All right. So Laura said totally
Lots of
swimmer Joe
25s,
Sweet.
I guess.
Lots of 25s.
Story.
Lots of 25.
Joe's
Hard to breathe with that thing. Lots of 25s.
No, you see it like that girl that went into her grocery store. She cut a hole in it so she could breathe and talk. That was funny. But anyway, guys. All right. Last words. Clay, you got any last words for us? Any wise words from the wise
I
men?
I hope the Pirates, I hope these guys, you got to be a little fearless. You got to find your alum who can call these people up, and you better call that AD's wife. If she really was a swimmer, somebody better call her, and it needs to be maybe a female, an older female alum. You need to call her and talk to her for 3 hours on the phone and make her husband's life miserable. They can do it.
All right, Sid, what do you got, bud?
I love all the advice from Clay and the passion of Eastern Carolina. I can tell you, having been born there in 57 and didn't move away till 69, moved back to go to college in 74. My heart's always been in Eastern North Carolina between Raleigh and Kinston. Greenville will make it right. We're going to stick with them. We'll bring back updates on this story.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But Joe, talking about stories, Laura puts up stories, and then I kind of saw a little logo or something, but we're going to try and kick off a story show next week. And if we get it ready for Monday at 7, as I think more about it, we may kick it back a little later once everybody's working again. It's the 7 o'clock Wednesday evening, but I'm seeing a little grin down there in the corner.
Hey, so what you're saying is we may see you on the monkey.
On the monkey.
We may see you on the monkey.
We may see Sid on the monkey, where you could actually take part in the story, because it's just stories is all it's going to be, is stories.
That's perfect.
We can just go on and do story time. So
I'm waiting for Clay too, man. Clay, we got to get Clay
time.
in.
Sid's got too many stories. Sid's got a lot more stories than I do, I tell you.
So if you look down there, Florida Swim Network is launching Swim Monkey TV, which will have a multitude of shows that swimming, synchro, water polo, all sorts of different nutrition, all sorts of different shows, cool tools, everything.
Oh, cool tools. I want to see that one.
Cool tools. So
what about the green? There's going to be some nutrition, right? Some green living. I like that.
Well, lean green dad,
Joe, right before the show, they reopened Solid Core. It was my first time back. I had done 20 visits since January, and I'm going twice a week again now. Today I'm going again Friday. I just got to get ready. I want to get ready.
How's that core looking?
Oh,
you got a six-pack going or what?
Over the last 2.5 years, I've lost over 50, but I've gotten
50.
Yeah, well, I guess close to right about 50. But my thinking is now I've gotten into my 7th decade of life, that this 7th one is a transition one, because I'm planning to retire around 71, 72, right after the LA Olympics. And then really do what I want to do. So I got to get in good shape, and it's going to take me that long to really get ready.
Sid thinks he's got a shot at the team for That Sid never gives up, man. Open water, you're going for the open water position.
Yeah, maybe. I love swimming open water without racing. My wife loves to swim, so I go out and literally sometimes I'll swim ahead and swim back. Sometimes I'll just swim with her, just say, I like this pace. This is good. Because she was never a competitive swimmer. I loved it. So it's nice for me now. I love getting in the ocean.
Well,
I don't know if I'll race.
Well, listen, guys, thanks for joining us, everybody online. Thanks for joining us to another Coach's Happy Hour. We love that you were on there. Go save a program. We'll see you next week. We have Matt Zimmer and a few other guys. We have Sydney Pickram in a couple weeks. So we've got a full load of people coming in. Also, check out swimmonkey.tv. That's coming around. So we'll see y'all next Wednesday. Thanks, Clay. Thanks, Sid.
All right. Thanks, guys. Send them some money. Send the Pirates some money.